Squawking Dead, and we are excited to present to you the countdown to Fear the Walking Dead's final season giveaway. Starting April 29th, every other day up until the Fear the Walking Dead Season 8 season premiere, we'll be posting a fan question for you to answer as creatively as possible. You can sing a song, write a haiku, or even respond to our questions in the form of fan art or cosplay. It's up to you. Every response you submit will count as an entry towards the following 2 prizes: a $50 gift card to twdushop.com and a thank you to Fear the Walking Dead t-shirt designed by Thomas O'Mara, aka at CelticTSO on all the social medias, featuring a silhouette of your favorite gunslinger, John Dory, with all the names of the characters that have appeared on Fear the Walking Dead since the very beginning behind him in the background. This giveaway is open to the world, but you must be subscribed to our YouTube channel in order to be eligible. Be certain that you have enabled all notifications on our YouTube channel, as well as wherever you follow us on social media, in order to receive an alert when the next question drops. And hey, if you're following us on our Ko-fi or Patreon pages, you will receive those questions in advance. So get psyched, show your love for Fear the Walking Dead's return. Stay tuned for those questions, answer creatively, and win those prizes. I'm your friend David Cameo, and we are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep, and today, our special treat for you is Fear the Walking Dead's top 5 favorite characters, as brought to you by Sherrandy, aka Blazy Gardner, Cosmom09, Rachel, Burt, and Bridget. ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. Hey, Mitchell. Hey, Walking Dead Eternal. How are you guys? Thank you for showing up. Hey, Sherrandy. You get to see your face soon, hopefully. And I am live right now, and I'll be premiering this episode live like we used to do in the olden days. As you just saw, hopefully, I just showed you the ad for our ongoing Fear the Walking Dead final season countdown giveaway. It contains, we've been doing this for a while now. We're up to question 6, and you have until tomorrow morning to answer that question. Every day you answer a question creatively, well, every other day technically, you will receive an entry towards the prizes that I mentioned: a $50 gift certificate to twdushop.com and a thank you to Fear the Walking Dead tribute t-shirt designed by Thomas O'Mara, aka CelticTSO, which contains the silhouette of John Dory with all the characters that have ever appeared on Fear the Walking Dead in the background. Like I said, question 6 is due tomorrow morning, and question 7, the question for question 7 will be available on Ko-fi and Patreon tomorrow at some point, as well as publicly available via all social media, including our YouTube channel, the day after. So that would be, I think that's Thursday. So once that is out, that is the last entry. Now again, so you have tomorrow as an entry, day after is an entry. If you haven't done it already, answer creatively. People have been sending photo edits, paintings, haikus. Yeah, it's a thing. People have been going out and showing us things correlating to their answer for Fear the Walking Dead, favorite location, some really creative answers. So I really, really appreciate. What is that picture? Huh. Anyway, Walking Dead Eternal, you're distracting me, which I appreciate. Anyways, one more little bit of housekeeping. Aside from all the ways you can support us, like Phineas Coffee and buying us a coffee during the stream, which will show up in the chat forever in this video, you can also obviously join a membership tier on either Ko-fi or Patreon for just $1 a month if you want to start there. But tomorrow, as of tomorrow, there will be a sale in our merch store, which will be $16 t-shirts, as well as up to 35% off the rest of the store. You can get to it via the description in the YouTube and Facebook videos, the merch store. There's a link there. Or you can just go to squawkingdead.com, click the main menu on the top left, and choose merch. So again, tomorrow, if you're watching this right now, it is tomorrow, May 10th, Wednesday, May 10th. I don't remember what it is until, but I think it's like a week, maybe 3 days. You'll find out when you head to our merch store. Without further ado, I see. It's a picture of Maggie and Beth. Oh, I see it. Yeah. Okay. I think there's a sign there. I'll check it out later. Either way, thank you all for your creative input throughout this giveaway. It's made for really, really good videos. I very much enjoy making them. My only regret is that I I have to watch these videos in advance of premiering them. While I create my compilation videos the next day containing your answers, I wish I could react to them live before, because I want to make sure they come out okay. But it's been such a joy and a pleasure to see you step up to the plate and be creative. I didn't have high hopes, I'll admit. After the first question dropped and we left the text box open, people were just writing their answers very dull and uncreatively. No offense. Actually, it's probably a little offensive. I'm sorry. Not sorry. But then once we got rid of that text box, you guys showed up. So without further ado, here are not only Bridget, Sherrandy, and Rachel's top 5 favorite characters on Fear the Walking Dead, but some of your top 5 favorite characters on Fear the Walking Dead, as Sherrandy and the rest of them, Sherrandy, Rachael, and Bridget, reached out to some of you to get your input on what your top 5 favorite characters of Fear the Walking Dead are. So without further ado, take it away, ladies. Right about now.
Top 5 favorite Fear the Walking Dead characters. This is all seasons, by the way. This is not just 4 through 8.
My number 5 is Ophelia.
That surprises me. Okay.
I absolutely loved Ophelia, and I wish that she would have survived for longer. I loved the character. I loved her relationship with Daniel, obviously. I really wish that character would have lasted a lot longer.
I only watched season 1 of the first 3 seasons, so I didn't see a whole lot of her, but I did like what I did see of her.
She gets really cool in season 3, actually.
That's what
she has some really good character development.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday I will get around to watching season 2. I barely and that was even with Rachel's help with me watching it. I was just we made it to episode 6 and I was like, you know what? I just don't want to watch this anymore.
I'm actually a little sad that I couldn't put this person higher, but when I really sat down to look at these, I struggled with where I was putting people.
My number 1 was obvious, but the rest, I really struggled with the rest.
Yeah, it was tough. So my number 5 is Taka.
Oh, okay.
I know that Sherrandy does not care for the earlier seasons.
And you and I went and both picked the characters for the first 3.
But I will say, probably one of my favorite seasons is season 3 because of the conflict with Taka and the natives. That storyline is just really cool. I thought it was cool to see preppers because we hadn't really touched that in The Walking Dead proper. If this were to happen in our world now, there are people like this out there. And me kind of being on that, wanting to be on that fringe of weirdness, like, yeah, I want to prep. I really enjoyed that whole season. Taka was the best part of the whole season. He's such a great character and such a great actor playing him. It's just a good story.
He's very popular in our group chat.
Well, and he was left open-ended. So you don't know what happened to him, so you're kind of left with that. Well, he was tough. Maybe he's still around.
Montana.
Where is he?
He went to Montana to be a shepherd.
Yes.
My number 5 was Althea. I did struggle with this, and she actually probably would have been higher on my list, except after her run-in with Isabel in season 5, she got so mopey and depressed all the time. And what I loved about Al in season 4 and the beginning of season 5 was she was funny and plucky and, you know, I've got layers, I'm an onion. And after Isabel, she was just like, Isabel.
We got to see a flash of that again in 6.
In season 7 too. She gets ready to leave to find Isabel.
Yeah.
And she blows up the walker with the
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of that, but for most of season 5 and the little bit we saw her in 6, it was like, mopey out. But I did love Althea, especially in season 4. So the people that responded, AJ at AJ Graham 19, Madison is his number 5. Tom at Celtic TSO on Instagram said Luciana. Brian picked Taka Walker.
Yeah.
Lolly, he said Ophelia.
Oh,
Carranza said Strand. Nick said June. And Finn said June. Mitchell said Travis. And Donnie said Luciana. And Jess said Alicia. As we go, believe me, there's some you're going to be like, what?
number 4, favorite character, Annie.
Aww.
Oh.
Even though Annie's a kid and maybe she didn't always make the best decisions, she did what she absolutely thought was best for these kids. She was a child put into a parental role, and I think she did the best that she possibly could for being a kid. I think the character was written very strong and really nailed it. I just love Annie.
Yeah, we miss her. Wish we knew what in the world happened. I guess it was her destiny to be killed by nuclear emissions. That's why they made them leave where they were. And they took her
Yeah.
straight to a nuclear explosion. So good job, Morgan.
Way to go. Way to go, Morgan. Saved him from one nuclear explosion just to
Right.
drop him right into another one.
Went from Chernobyl straight to 3 Mile Island. Come on.
All right, my number 4 is Alicia. Actually, when I sat down and looked at this list, I was surprised how many people were season 1 people. This is shocking to me. I really enjoyed Alicia. Her character development was great. Subtract 7, because what in the F was happening there? But if I look at her character arc from the beginning, even her initial introduction, I loved. She was the steadfast child. She had to deal with the fact that her brother was an absolute fucking disaster. She was there for her family, even though she didn't want to be. She was so reluctant in her ability to lead. There's something you can really connect to there. I loved her relationship with her boyfriend. I thought it was so sweet. And that was such a heartbreaking thing for her to go through, but it was so good to get that part of her character going. She was going to have to deal with trauma and suffering, and I kind of wish she would have struck out on her own and stayed out on her own. We got it for 2 episodes, and then she immediately came back. So there's clearly some weird codependency issues happening there between her and her mother. Plus, I liked seeing her growth in season 3 when they're on the ranch. And then after Madison was gone, we got some weird stuff, but grief is weird. And it does weird things to you, and it can take a while to get through it. But I loved seeing her break through that, and she was such a badass.
That was one of the best episodes of the show came out of that, though, and that's Close Your Eyes with her and Charlie. Which, my number 4 is Charlie. She's a good kid. She's smart, trying to do the right thing, and she got so much hate over Nick. All the backlash, I kind of sided with Charlie because she's just a kid. She just watched the person who was taking care of her get murdered, even if it was by somebody she knew. She continued to grow throughout the series. Charlie is a smart, useful person to them. She sneaks in when they are trying to get into Daniel's compound. She's like a little stealth ninja. I really love Charlie, and I was very upset that they went the route they did with her. And I'm really upset at the age thing with her. I was listening to our coverage of Morning Cloak earlier, looking for clips, and we were talking about why they made her fucking 13. It was so cringy and gross that she was only 13.
It was really cringy.
Yeah. One more year, make her 14. That would have been way more acceptable than 13.
A little less cringy.
They were wrong. AJ, Morgan, Tom was Alicia.
Oh.
Sorry, me and Tom. Okay.
Brian said Nick. Lolly also said Nick. Carranza said Al. Nick Sanchez Arcos said Nick. Mitchell said Strand. Finn said John. Donnie said Charlie also. And Jess said Charlie. So Charlie was very popular at number 4.
Okay, so this is the one I cheated on, and I'm just going to say for number 3, the Clark children.
You ass. Nick didn't even make my list.
So Nick and I
love
honestly couldn't decide. I think I truly love Nick and Alicia equal for varying reasons. I don't even know if I could put into words all the different reasons, but he pissed me off in the beginning. He was going through his own shit as the world was ending. He was detoxing and he kept making these bad decisions, but I felt like it was a good real life representation of what somebody might be going through, but also overcoming it. But Alicia, on the flip side, I think she had every reason to really despise her brother because of how much attention he got and he was the favorite or whatever, but she really didn't let it get to her all that much. If anything, she took that treatment from a parent and said, you know what, I can take care of myself. And she really became a fucking badass because of it. And maybe her upbringing with this type of brother been different, she wouldn't have been prepared for everything we saw her do later on. Looking out for herself at a younger age prepared her for what she had to do in the future apocalypse. And she went through her moment where she did irritate me a little bit when she felt she had to be the one to kill everything and do everything. Girl, sit down, let people help you out. No, it has to be me. And but does it though? It really doesn't. I really wish Nick would have lasted a little longer.
So to continue on this early season train we got going here, my number 3 is Strand.
Well, he's still around though.
I know, but there's just something about that man.
He's definitely a unique
If it
character.
wasn't Coleman Domingo,
Mhm.
I don't know that I would love him as much as I do. There is just something about the energy that he adds to the character. It's over the top and so beautiful. I just love it. I
I don't think
love
anyone
it, and
else
I love
could
him.
do it.
I loved Strand because he was such a complicated character.
Mhm.
Now, parts of that make him really simple, but I loved the fact that he was a con man and ended up falling in love with someone he tried to con. And then there was the complicated relationship between him and the woman who helped raise
His boyfriend,
Peter.
Abigail.
Thank you. The woman that they go to meet in Mexico when they go down there to stay. I loved, this is totally off topic, but I loved the use of Spanish language in the first couple of seasons also.
Mhm.
He had an unusual past that I also enjoyed. He was cut out for this. He was living in the world of his dreams by everything falling apart. Often I end up loving those characters the most. When I look at The Walking Dead proper, Daryl and Carol are my favorite, and it's because the end of the world allowed them to become the people that they were the whole time. They just couldn't be because of the way that society is. And we see that same thing with Strand. Now, does that make him an a-hole 90% of the time? Yes.
Mhm.
But that laugh.
I was just going to say his
Insert
laugh.
the laugh gif here.
Strand?
It's so over the top. I just love it. And the whole phone and his little hat.
The phone was so
Season
over
7
the top.
Strand is prime Strand.
He was the best part of season 7.
He really
for
was.
real.
He
For
is
real.
like RuPaul took over season 7 and directed.
It's wild. The delivery of the lines, Coleman really shines through during season 7. And I think that's why I like it so much.
Who doesn't want to do that kind of role where you're just allowed to cut loose and be this character?
I
and-
love when someone can really chew the scenery.
Yeah.
And man, does he ever.
Yeah. My number 3 is Sarah. And it's because
Mm.
she's so fucking funny. We needed the levity. Of course, I love Mo, too. I wish they would have expanded on her more. I feel like there's a lot more background we could have gotten on
Mhm.
her and Wendell.
I
but-
loved Breathe With Me.
Yes,
That
was
is-
Mhm.
That was one of the best episodes of that. Well, I mean, it wasn't hard to be the best episode of that season, but she was one of the people I had a really hard time with. I almost wish we had done top 5 early seasons, top 5 later seasons, because after the reboot, she is one of my favorite people.
They introduce her as the bad guy because she's kidnapping Jimbo and force him to make beer, and she's kidnapped Morgan. It was all an act. They're really out there trying to help people. And of course, the Sarah-isms. How can you not love the Sarah-isms? Shit in a sandbox. Stir up some beef. Another very unique character. I don't recall seeing anybody else like her on television anywhere.
It's rare that you get the representation of a female truck driver.
She's like a really toned down Teeter.
Yes. That's Yellowstone, if you don't know.
Teeter's one of my favorite characters on Yellowstone, I guess because she's like Sarah. AJ said Victor. Tom said Grace. Brian said Victor. Lolly said Travis. Carranza said Dwight. Interesting addition. Nick Sanchez Arcos says Dory, John Dory. Mitchell says John.
Damn.
Finn
I'm gonna
said
cheat again.
Daniel.
You watch.
No.
Donnie says Nick, and Jess also says Daniel. So a lot of Daniels. and a couple more strands.
Bridget said I can't cheat again, even though I really want to.
You're not allowed to say the Dories. You can't.
I know.
You can't just cover all of them. No.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I knew it.
All right,
I
no,
knew
for
it.
real. Yeah, I was gonna go with the Dories, but I'll go with my original answer and just say June. June's my number 2. Do you really need an explanation? How is she not on everyone's list?
I'm so sorry to say she's not on my list.
Boo!
are-
See, you need a
know.
top
You are-
8.
But
you
I
are
have to. We
canceled.
have to talk about that.
To be fair, this is why I need like a top 8 because Daniel should really be on my
What
list,
are
and
you?
he's not.
What are you gonna do when we do the Walking Dead top 5 characters? We're gonna have to do the top 20 Walking Dead characters.
How many people were on the cast?
No, if I'm being honest, a top
number.
5 Walking Dead would be much easier for me.
It's not for me, so we're reversed.
June, for reasons that will
Are obvious.
are obvious.
So my number 2 is John Dory Jr. As far as I'm concerned, the only John Dory.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. I love
Ooh.
Senior. I love Senior, but why? Just
We talked about this in an episode of Squawking Dead. Senior's storyline was actually supposed to be John, but when Garrett said he wanted to leave,
they had to pivot.
they had to fill that storyline in with
Yeah.
somebody.
I loved John Dory instantly. Garrett was on Raising Hope, and I loved Raising Hope so much. And so seeing him in the show, I was like, holy shit, I know that guy. And I love that guy. But then on top of that, his character was just so likable. What a perfect character and what perfect casting. He's a simple kind of man, but he's not simple in the way that people in the South use it. He is simplistic in how he views things and how his life was at the beginning when we first meet him. And I love that they added in the element of course, they're in Texas. Why isn't there someone who can do trick shooting?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for putting in an interesting niche characteristic that would be represented in Texas.
John is my number 2 also. The first episode I ever watched of any Walking Dead anything was Laura.
Mm.
And I saw him come on the screen. Holy shit, he was on Raising Hope. And immediately had my attention. I didn't know his name at the time. I just recognized him immediately. It's the man you want. Everybody fucking wants to be June, don't you? Don't you want to be fucking June? When he finds her in the river, and he carries her in and he lays her down and he's like, I'm gonna have to look, is that okay? Asking her permission.
Such a gentleman.
Even then, being the gentleman and everything. I was listening.
It's rare now.
I think it was the early Squawking Dead podcast, and they thought he was a serial killer because he was so perfect.
That sounds like something I would say.
I just loved them being able to let someone be genuinely kind.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is a rarity in our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not often that you meet someone who is unselfishly motivated, genuinely kind and generous. And that is so special, and you feel so special knowing them, and it's a privilege to know them. And so that's kind of how it felt with this character. And was following true love? Get out of here.
That doesn't happen in real life.
In the beginning, when he opens up the gun case and he's cleaning the guns, it's him. It's so quiet and steady. And then he sees the walker, and instead of using the gun, he picks up the axe and goes out and kills the walker. That tells you immediately who John is. He said he was very simplistic in how he viewed things, but we find out as we go on how much more complicated he really is. He's not just this simple guy, which ends up being his demise, his complicated inner self. Yay, what a bummer to go out on.
Good thing we still have a number 1.
AJ said Nick. Tom said John. Brian said Madison. Carranza
Brian put Madison at number 2.
Yeah, because
I'm shocked by that, but I'm not. I know who his number 1 is. I know it.
Of course.
Lolly said Walker. Carranza said Sarah. Nick said Daniel. Mitchell said Madison. Finn said Teddy.
That's awesome.
What? Is Mother his number 1 then?
No, his number 1 is even more interesting.
It's Riley.
Donnie says Alicia. And Jess says June. I'm just going to say that number 1 and number 2, a lot of people have John and June.
I'm sure.
Down to number 1, Rachel. I already
Sarah.
know I knew it.
I was
Sarah.
wondering who your number one was gonna be.
I already knew it. I knew it.
Sherrandy kind of explained it best when she explained why she was number 2. Sarah's my number 1 for all those same reasons. She brought this lightness to the show that we needed, even though she had this humorous side to her, was extremely complicated, which we saw a lot of in Breathe With Me. That was definitely one of my favorite Fear episodes, hands down. I think it showed incredible character growth for this character that I already really loved. It explained a lot about her relationship with Wendell too, which I think everybody was kind of curious about.
How did they get to the point
Yeah.
they were at? Yeah.
I think it was even more
I just
intense
realized
than
that we had
we
another.
even thought.
I just realized we had another set of twins that didn't fit together in that way, and that was Hope and Iris. That's something we
Yep.
never even talked about on the show. That we had.
Yeah, their stories are very similar.
And- yeah.
Similar. It's so sweet to hear it and to know that things like that do happen in
Mhm.
the real world. They're few and far between, but
To see
as
these-
infants, they couldn't be apart. They bettered each other. It's
Yeah.
so sweet.
I know they didn't exactly choose. Well, I guess they kind of did choose to be family, even as babies. And that is very much what we do with our Walking Dead family. And this is the family that we chose to be a part of. It's kind of represented in these characters. And Sarah's just fucking hilarious. Out of all the characters on Fear anyway, I can relate to her too, because she's a quote unquote girly, kind of tomboyish buddy. So
Right.
I definitely
even,
related.
Mo
to the
even said
character.
that she chose the pink to show that Sarah had
Yeah.
a feminine side too, because
Right.
all you ever see her in is the overalls and
See, and you guys usually see me in t-shirt and hoodies and jammies and stuff, but when I doll up, I go all out. I have a girly side. That's right. I have a girly side.
It was a toss up between her and John for me because I put her third, but that's only because of
Mhm.
John. Otherwise, she would have been number 2.
My number one is Daniel. I
Rightfully
love
so.
that man so much. See, this is what I really struggled with though, because and I'll talk about this now because I did not put June on my list and I didn't put Sarah on my list, and I do love both of those characters. Sarah for all of the reasons we just discussed, and the beautiful episode that we got to see, Breathe With Me, put her over the top and really let Mo Collins shine as an actress, which we just don't ever get to see. It's so unfortunate, but she is so talented, and yes, she's hilarious. So that's what you see all the time is the funniness, but to get to see her play something serious was so touching. I love June and I love Jenna so much, but this was a really hard list to put together. I really had to think about this.
Why we need a
And-
top 8.
It was tough because
It's hard.
while I love June, I haven't always loved her decisions or the way that her character is gone. Sometimes it's just writing. That seems like
Yeah.
a weird choice.
Hospital.
I'm a fan of Fear all the way through. I enjoyed the first portion. I'm not a huge Madison fan. I don't hate her, but she was really self-destructive, and that's hard to get behind. It is super hard to make them likable. But I loved the beginning. It was dark and it was gritty and I enjoyed it. And then I liked that there was levity brought to it in season 4 and after. There was love stories and there was humor and all of that got brought in. And I wasn't mad about a reboot. We're getting another one now in the final season, which is a little unusual. Daniel, since the very beginning, he's always been my favorite character. He has the best written story out of any character, arguably. He's gotten the most backstory out of anyone because he is older and we have his story as a father and a husband and also as a child, and his military experience and everything in between. Probably the most thoroughly written character that we've seen on the show. He disappeared, but he got to come back because we do that for characters all the time. When Morgan was gone after season 1, I was one of those people that was desperate. When is Morgan coming back? I don't care what Dave says. I want to know. If Tobias comes back in this last season, I'm going to be so freaking happy. I don't even care how stupid it would be. It would just make me so
I
happy.
would love that.
When Morales came back, it was for a second, but just the acknowledgement that these people don't just stop existing
Right.
is what
Right.
I really love. So when Daniel left and then got to come back, and then we find out that he still has the pain in his mouth.
When he pulls the
That's 6
plastic out of his face.
It's right
That's
before Jenny dies.
6-10.
Yeah.
Right after.
'Cause
Right
it's
after.
in
'cause-
that
Oh, it's
church.
right after. You're right.
Strands.
because June was
Strand was locked up.
and,
Yep.
and
Yep.
June was kicked out of the dam.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's so rare that we get to see the acknowledgement of something that it was so far back in the storyline. Often we just blow right through that, especially when there's a soft reboot and totally new people are taking over. We don't ever get to see that reference back to the source material that they were given. So getting to see that and getting to see that that damage was still done was one, a really cool visual effect to see, but was also really impactful. The storyline with Ophelia and almost getting to reunite, and then she's passed when he gets there. There's just all these heartbreaking moments, and the way he loses his wife, and we lose him twice. He comes back both times.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane, but it makes his story that much better. And I think the poetic justice that we receive in the fact that he was faking dementia, but then now is suffering from some sort of issue with memory is heartbreaking but beautiful at the same time. And I was so happy when we got to see him in the trailer for season 8 because I was genuinely worried that it may be just over for him.
One of his lines was the highlight of season 7. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do to them.
The episode where he's with Arno and
Lucy.
Right? It's Arno, not Arlo.
Yeah.
See, now I confuse it because of freaking Better Call Saul. That was one of the best episodes of the season because that was in 7B.
Yeah.
Okay. I will argue
that was okay.
Because Arlo,
that was a good one.
Arlo, you got me doing it now. Because Arno was still looking for Alicia. So my number one. Do I even need to say it?
Let's all say it together.
June.
Because she's fucking a badass, strong, smart, capable, and I love her character arc because we meet her as this broken person who's so broken she won't even use her real name, and she's grown into a person who is threatening to throw the second in command off the fucking tower in order to keep Charlie safe. And of course, the shooting of Jenny, one of my favorite moments.
It was her best moment, honestly.
Her and John's love story is the first episode I watched, and it is what brought me into the fandom. It doesn't hurt that I love Jenna too, but I loved June before that. I'm really glad she survived this long. I was super scared. She's somebody you aspire to and wants to go out and help people and kind of selfless and wants to do the best thing, even if she doesn't always make the best decisions. Hospital. Everybody else is number one. AJ, Alicia. Tom says June. Brian says Daniel. Lolly. Anybody want to guess who Lolly's number one is?
No.
Madison.
Oh, okay. Wait a second.
Carranza says June. Nick Sanchez-Arco says Strand. Mitchell says Alicia. Finn says Emil.
Emil?
Not Josiah.
Not Josiah, just Emil.
I like Josiah better.
Donnie says June, and Jess says John. Lots of Johns and Junes in there. I think this was fun. It wasn't nearly as long and convoluted as the Walking Dead ones that we did.
There's more seasons there.
Yeah.
What do you think of our choices? What do you think of everybody else's choices? Leave a comment. Send us an email. Send us a DM. Let us know what you thought. Give us your choices. We have some other Fear the Walking Dead stuff coming. I have Sherrandy, Blazy Gardner, Rachael, Cosmo Mamo 9, Bridget, Ain't My First Rodeo on Instagram, and Ex Prophecy Girl on Twitter.
Also, I'm Punky Brewster on YouTube, and it's spelled like this. There you go.
Bruisteter.
It's Ponky.
Ponky. It's not really Ponky. Don't look up Ponky. I don't want whoever that is getting my views.
PUNKYBRUISETR.
Yep. Join us for our next one, guys. TWD family forever. Mwah.
And if you like what you heard, well, you can just head on over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what your top 5 favorite characters of Fear the Walking Dead are. I mean, I know most of you did it in the chat just now. But remember to tell us after every episode. It really is important. Everybody, please take the time out to rate us. I can't even tell you. We're big in Russia now, even though we haven't had an episode in a couple weeks. Russia, we're still in the top 100. I thought that was worth mentioning. And if you really like what you've heard, well, think about following us for free. It's free to follow us here or there. And that's at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead. When you do, you have the inside track on some of the cool things that we do, like when we do a giveaway, like the one we're doing now, the Fear the Walking Dead final season countdown giveaway. You will get the questions early when you follow us. Again, it's for free. You can follow us for free. You just create an account and follow us. It's on either of those Patreon or Ko-fi. And no Tobias. I saw that, Takira. You could do whatever you want. It's fine. I'll just judge you. But yes, follow us for free on either of those. It really means a lot to us. It says that you really like what we're doing, and you don't have to go any further than that. Should you decide to tip us on Ko-fi, you'll get 30 days of supported back content, which means all the unedited episodes and some of the cool things that we develop behind the scenes. And if you join a membership for as little as $1 a month, you'll have instant access to our Discord, as well as a whole host of other perks. One of which the Whisperers and the Survivors tiers enjoy at the end of every episode, and that is credits at the end of the episode, starting with our Survivors tier members. We've got Eliza Jones 71 on Instagram, or at JonesAG6 on Twitter, at RealRyanGM on Twitter, and Fanart Lindy, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/Fanart Lindy. And of course, our Whisperers tier members. We've got Judith.Morton on Instagram, at Tyler Phillip Cox, and at J13Voorhees on Instagram and Twitter, at Sandy.D.Morrison on Facebook, and Aiden Atkin, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/Aiden Atkin, who, by the way, graduated summa cum laude. I forget what university he goes to because I'm just a bad friend. But congratulations, Aiden. You graduated, and I love you. It's great. That's the show, everybody. I hope you really, really enjoyed what we had to offer for you. And we have 2 more episodes at least to show you regarding Fear the Walking Dead, one of which I will try to get out by this week for you. I think it's I guess you'll find out. And one of the things I'll be posting the unedited episode recording of that episode, because I'm working on it right now, at Patreon and Ko-fi. And if you want a piece of that episode, the unedited episode, you know what to do. You know when it'll go out. And when you follow us for free, by the way, you'll get to know our recording schedule on Ko-fi and Patreon. And it's absolutely free to attend our recording, so you can lend your input as we go. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And I'm looking forward to the answers to the 6th question of our Fear the Walking Dead final season countdown giveaway. And I'm excited to see who actually wins this thing. Stay tuned for Fear the Walking Dead, which is premiering publicly on AMC on May 14th and privately. Yeah, I guess it is privately on AMC Plus on May 11th, which is in just 2 days. Take care, everybody. We'll see you very soon. Have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And, I love you guys. It's fine. Oh, okay. So it's Middle Tennessee State University. That's where Aiden graduated. Okay.